You want to hear a real, true ghost story? One that still haunts me to this day? I'll tell you my story. Way back when my mom was maybe 9 years old, my aunt had given birth to a baby boy. This baby boy's name was Dale, and he was born, unfortunately, with a hole in his heart. Now, this sort of defect nowadays is very easily fixed, but back then, unfortunately, it was always fatal. The doctors had given him no more than a year to live, and my aunt didn't handle that very well. She couldn't handle the thought that he was going to die. So she wanted to give him up for adoption. And my grandmother, God rest her soul, fantastic woman that she was, would have no part of that. Baby Dale was family. He was going to be loved, and he was going to have a roof over his head until the day he died. He was going to be family, and that's the way it should have been. So she took baby Dale in, and my mother formed an incredible bond with this child as a testament to her resourcefulness that she still has to this day. She had gathered my uncles together, and they scrounged and built a working baby buggy out of parts that they had found here and there. And because baby Dale had no energy because of the hole in his heart, she always pushed him around in this buggy. Well, he spent so much time in that buggy that ended up being his nickname, was Buggy. Well, eventually the sad day came and little baby Dale died. My mother was devastated. Now, at 9 years old, she made a vow that stuck with her, that her firstborn child, boy or girl, was going to be named Dale. Well, this is where my horror story begins. I was only a few days old, and my mother had laid me down to go take a nap in the evening, and she was sitting down having tea with Grandma and my uncles, and she got up to go and check on me. Well, she walked in the room, and what she described that she saw, I'll never forget. She said that there was a man standing at my crib, looking in at me. Now, this wasn't any ordinary man. This was very dark, dirty. He was dressed in a top hat and tails, and he was dirty, like he'd just come out of the ground. And the really ghostly thing about him was that he was cut in half. His top half floated above his middle half, and my mom said you could see right through him. Well, this, of course, freaked my mom out enough that she didn't know what to do for a second. And he looked at her, and he says, "Buggy wants somebody to play with." Well, my mom lost it. She went crazy. She ran over and grabbed me and hankered down in the corner of the room, and she was crying uncontrollably. Well, my grandmother and my uncles come running in, and they calmed her down, and she recanted the story of what she had seen. Well, they just thought, okay, listen, 18 years old, just gave birth, she's a little stressed out, postpartum depression. Well, that was pretty much the end of it for my mother. She caught little bits of glimpses here and there of him, just enough to know that he was still watching, but nothing significant. But then, that's when it started happening to me. Years later, I was coming home from a Cub Scout meeting, and it was dusk out. I mean, it was getting dark, and my dad had said that I could spend the night over at my friend Andy's place. He was also in Cub Scouts with me, and as long as we went straight over to his house after the meeting. Well, we decided to go and, take a little jaunt a couple blocks over to Minnie Lane Video Arcade, and we were going to go play a couple of video games before we went to his house. Well, that was a bad move, because what happened is, crossing the street, I got ran over. I got hit by a car and ran over. Now, this is where it all begins for me. I don't remember getting run over. I don't remember what happened after the car hit me. What I do remember is standing on the side of the road watching it happen to somebody else. It was a fantastic feeling. There was a light. Now, when you hear about the light, people talk about their near-death experiences and they have this light that they've seen, that they describe. I experienced that. It is the most wonderful, beautiful thing you'll ever see. And it's not scary, and it feels absolutely wonderful. I experienced that. Now, there were people everywhere. There were people that I have no idea where they came from, but they were everywhere. And this lady walked up to me and she put her hand on my shoulder and she says, "It's not your time yet, little one. You got to go back. You have to leave here. There's danger here." I didn't know what she meant. Well, I was looking around and all the people were starting to part to get out of the way of this dark man. He was walking towards me with his hand outstretched and he was coming for me. Well, I didn't know what the heck to do. All of a sudden everything started getting fuzzy, and the next thing you know I heard this screaming off in the distance, and it got louder and louder and louder, and I'm wondering, where in the heck is this coming from? And then I realized it was me, and I was under the vehicle. Well, he didn't get me there, but then he started seeing me in my dreams. He started coming to me in my dreams. No matter what I was dreaming about, he was there. And it just got worse as I got older. And then one day he actually stopped being in my dreams. And he actually came to me for real. I decided to write about this as kind of my form of therapy. I wrote a story, 9 pages. It's on the internet under HeStillWatches.com. I posted it, and I got a lot of people asking me, when are you going to write a book about this? Well, I never really thought about it. So I figured, what the heck, I'm going to give this a try. So of course, I have to embellish the story to make a novel, because, I mean, I just have to. The novel that I'm writing it and posting it 1 page at a time, 7 per week. And I decided to do it a little bit different. I'm going to sell advertising on each and every page. Now, what I encourage you to do is go to HeStillWatches.com. Take a read. There's a short story that tells you absolutely everything that happened. And from there, I've developed the novel. Now, the online novel is free to the public. You can go in and read it, follow along once a week. I'm posting 7 pages. And you can follow by looking at the blog and reading up on that. And I tell you, if you're going to read the story, leave the lights on, because it's true and it's scary. All I can say is you can choose to believe or disbelieve. That's your prerogative. But I know it's true. And I know he still watches. Thank you.